Hi folks, how you doing? Russell True Results. I don't have my shirt, 303.com. Check out the website, link in the description box while you're there. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out those free gifts, Setting Goals, Nutrition, Supplementation. Podcast True Results 303. Facebook True Results 303. Coming at you today with a video on why GMOs won't save the world. There's this whole big argument on, are they good? Are they bad? And the research is conflicting. But of course we all know that if you're not doing the research independently, a majority of the time you're going to get biased information. And a majority of the time Monsanto and whoever is producing these genetically modified seeds are doing their own research and then sending it out to us saying that look how safe these things are. I was just recently watching a documentary and they say the reason why right now we as people aren't seeing the effects of these genetically modified organisms, these foods that are created from these seeds, because a lot of these tests are performed on mice and rats, right? And mice, and then so if you're looking at the life of a mouse or a rat compared to the lifespan of a human, they're different, right? Kind of like a dog. You know, they say 1 human year is 7 dog years. That's why dogs only live to be 14, right? So same thing with a mouse or a mice. With mice, rats, whatever they're experimenting on, usually is going to be a mouse. Their lifespan is usually only 2 years. So if you break that down, right, and the average lifespan of a human, at least here in the States, is 80 years. We'll go with 80 years, right? So if they're not seeing the effects in these rats and mice until 1 year, 6 months, something along those lines, that means we ourselves, we're not going to be able to see these effects until we're in our 30s, 40s, and 50s, right? It's taking about half the lifespan of this mouse to undergo or see the effects of genetically modified foods. So for us, we're not going to be seeing this until 40, 35, 45, 55. And if you think about it, that's when a lot of people are starting to get diagnosed with cancer and all these different issues. That's when my father was diagnosed with cancer 55. I think it was actually 53. He died at 55. Of course, he was a big smoker and everything like that. But once again, watch these documentaries. I know it's easier to watch a 5-10 minute YouTube video versus an hour-and-a-half documentary. I prefer documentaries. I really enjoy watching them and kind of learning. But the reason why GMOs aren't going to change the world, which is probably what the title of this video was when you clicked on it, first of all, is because a lot of these other countries don't want genetically modified foods. If you watch these documentaries, even these poor countries where they don't have much, they don't want these seeds. They don't have them. They boycott Monsanto and these seeds. So it is not going to change the world because they don't want these seeds. Other places in Europe now, they're banned. And these foods have to be labeled. I want them labeled in the States. So sorry, I'm doing some laundry if you heard that. So the number one reason why GMOs will not save the world and feed the poor is because they don't want those seeds. They know that that is evil. First of all, they don't even really like America, most likely, or they at least don't want us there. They don't care. But they don't mind their lifestyle. They don't like being where they are. And if the truth comes down to it, it's most likely America or first world countries that are suppressing them in the first place. I watched another documentary where they talk about how first world countries extort these other third world countries, right? So we go up there, we set up a banking industry, and then from there we give them loans to start their own businesses and do these other things, right? So first we set up a bank, then we bring in the oil refineries and exports and imports, right? Then we give them these loans, and then when they fault on their loans, we all know what happens when you miss a credit card payment, right? Your payment goes from 12% to 24 to 30%. Right? Then you're stuck in this cycle where you're trying to pay it off, but you can't because the interest rate is too high, and you're still spending and all these other issues. But that's what we do to these small third world countries, is we do that. Then once they default on their payments, now we're like, oh, you can't afford it, but hey, give us the rights to your oil, give us the rights to your mines, give us the rights to this, to your natural resources, and then we strip their land, right? Sorry, that was a whole different topic, but the other reason why GMOs aren't going to save the world, these genetically modified foods, is because we as people, I've mentioned this I think in my podcast, we as the people of America, we use the majority of this food just to feed our cattle. I hope that makes sense, right? We use all these grains to feed our cattle and our chickens instead of giving them natural foods that they eat. Do you think a cow ever went and ate corn? No, it grazes on grass and on the prairie, right? But we feed them grains and rices and all these different things, corn, whatever, to fatten them up quicker. Because we all know a fattier meat tastes better than a lean meat. A prime rib tastes better than a sirloin, right? So first of all, we're using this stuff to feed our cattle. We're a chicken, right? The same concept I brought up in my podcast was we feed a chicken 20 pounds of rice to get 5 pounds of meat. Right? 20 pounds of rice, that's a lot. I guarantee, try to eat 1 pound of rice in a sitting. It'll be a lot. You're going to be so full. 20 pounds of rice could feed a starving family for 2 to 3 weeks probably in another country. But, 5 pounds of chicken is going to be 2 meals here in the States. So we've got to understand, we're not even using it to give to these other countries. And then second of all, these other countries don't want it because they know that it's bad for their health. It's not natural and they don't want it. Okay? So there you go. There's other things I could have gotten into, but I was able to speak on some other things. But that's the main reason. They don't want that crap. They're already boycotting that crap. We don't care. And right now, the United States is trying to actually get foods labeled genetically modified or not. But Monsanto and these other big companies are, of course, lobbying against it, because then you will realize that probably every food you are eating says GMO. And I'm going to do this real quick. I was walking up and down getting my laundry ready. Why don't we want GMOs? To tell you the truth, would you take every day, if you're eating potato chips and all this other stuff, would you every day take a teaspoon of Roundup and take a shot? Right? Just a teaspoon, little cap full, right? I got a water bottle holding my phone up if y'all ever wonder. So let me take that lid off. Right here. See this little itty bitty lid? That's not much, right? Would you take a shot of Roundup out of this every day? True, real talk here. Would you take that little shot of Roundup every day? If you can say no, then why are you eating genetically modified food? Because that's what's in it. Right? So, food for thought. I hope that helps. Check out the podcast, Facebook, join the community. Come on, folks, let's make this I a we. That's what it's all about. Let's change the world. It's going to take a little bit of time, but once we start to band together, anything is possible. So, subscribe to the channel, share and like these videos.